what have you been doing? You've been doing lots of painting during lockdown.
Yeah, because I mean, it's been great for that. I've had a lot more time. I've been doing painting, been making prints, and that show in the Fabric District. That's basically large expanded details of the paintings that I've been doing, which I'm very pleased about. It looks great. And then I've been doing all sorts of weird things like papier-mâché.
Wow.
Making sculptures out of egg boxes.
Nice.
I mean, that feels really nice because it's like, in fact, hang on.
Oh yeah, that's lovely. A dove. It's a pigeon.
Yeah, it's just, I just soak egg boxes and then put some PVA in and make sculptures.
Nice. It's really
But
nice.
it's really nice, like getting a bird from an egg box is nice, you know.
Yeah.
And I made a diddy golf course for around the flat with little holes, like sculptural holes and little clubs. You can play around the flat, things like that. And I've done a few new musical collaborations with people.
Have you?
Over the internet, you know, sending layers of a track, and then they add to it, and then send it back, and I add to it.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I mean, I've been quite creatively active, but I am anyway, you know.
You are anyway.
In that sense, it just means I've had a bit more time, really, it's cut out the travelling and all the unnecessary bits of life, sort of thing.
I know all the artists that I know have said similar things. That it's sort of got rid of the travelling for a while, and in a way, it's a bit of a luxury. That I think if it went on too long, I think we'd all start to get a little bit stir crazy. But I think you need to get out sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, but if you think about it, I mean, I've been at work. I've been at university. We've been doing a massive amount of work getting the university online, you know. So it's not been busy. I've been Zoom meetings all the time. But if you think about it, I would have been organising the Fabric District Festival on top of that. So all that raft of things has gone. I've actually cut back on things I do deliberately because I've actually quite enjoyed having the space. So in terms of like coming out of lockdown, like I've stepped down from the board of SIGGRAPH, you know, the American Computing Arts Science big thing that I've been on the board for like 10 years. I've stepped down from that, things like that. So it's been quite good for like sorting me priorities out, really, sorting my head out. I've been doing meditation, I've been doing yoga, all new. I haven't done those before. And going for walks, you know. So I'm actually probably physically fitter than I was previously when I didn't have the time to even think about those things, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah,
isn't it?
Interesting.
So I mean, would you say that for you it's been quite a positive experience then, the whole lockdown?
If it wasn't for all the people dying, I would say it's been pretty good, yeah. But unfortunately, you know, there's that side of it, and our daughter and her husband had it really bad down in London. We had an awful time where we were just waiting for the next WhatsApp message to see how they were. And she's only just recovering now. It's taken her months to get over it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was awful.
Yeah.
And then Liz, my wife, Liz's mother, got took in hospital up in Newcastle, and of course, there's nothing you could do. You know, couldn't visit them because, well, at the beginning I was put on, which was a bit disconcerting, I was put on the sort of extremely vulnerable list. I was getting texts from the health service because I had throat cancer 5 years ago. And then I heard that the NHS in Edinburgh were like giving ventilators to people who are healthy rather than people who are like on their last legs. So I argued and got myself taken off that list, you know. But the things you do, you know, when because at the beginning there was a real sense of like panic, wasn't there? I mean, you didn't even know whether you were going to get food, did you? You know what I mean? So everybody was, I mean, it woke the nation up without a doubt. I mean, it's a crisis and it's awful, but it's certainly woken us up. I mean, we were baking cakes and giving them to the neighbours, and they were doing the same, you know. So there was a lot of like wartime spirit started up. So there were like everything, there's always a positive and a negative side, isn't there?
That's what my big thing about that is I think that's a good way of putting it. It sort of woke the nation up, because it has made people sort of refocus on some of the important things. And we've had, you know, I mean, even the coming out to clap for the NHS, but VE Day was really interesting because it was a sort of socially distanced party, but it was really friendly. And I think people have been making more of a sense of community and kind of valuing that sense of community. And I hope that stays. And I really hope that people keep that through when we move forward from this, if we move forward from this in the next few years. Because without getting too political, the whole capitalist thing of everybody taking care of themselves and doing their own things for money, and you know, it's been nice to sort of get back to some basics in a way.
Yeah, and it's turned the value system inside out, hasn't it? Like the people that weren't valued for the things they do are suddenly the people who are like on the front line heroes, aren't they? So that's, I mean, it's got to be good.
Exactly.
And there's sort of superstructure people like me, like professors, you know, are downgraded, aren't they? Which is also fun.
How's it been working? You did mention it a little bit before, but working at the university, how have you found that in terms of having to adapt?
Well, it's been a big job, to be honest. It's been a bigger job for people who are at the front line with undergraduate teaching. I mean, it's been a massive job for my colleagues who are more that. I mean, I'm in charge of research, so it's been more abstract for me. But even with that, you know, there are postgraduate research students who fund themselves, and they fund themselves by working in bars and those sort of places that have all had to close down. So they're struggling. So we've had to put special measures in place we've extended and paid for every student an extra 3 months to their study at postgraduate level. And then we've also made special measures all the way across the board to support people. You know, I think LJMU has been fantastic, actually. I mean, I'm quite impressed compared to other places I've worked. You know, I think they are a serious sort of caring university, and their response to the Black Lives Matter thing that came in the middle has been amazing too. So I've actually grown more respectful of the university through it rather than less.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And on a purely personal level, as an artist, I mean, what have you taken from it? Do you feel as if it's given you lots of material?
Not really. No, in the sense that I had an ongoing practice, and it wasn't a practice that was relative really to external events, if you see what I mean. So that practice has just continued. But as I say, I've started new little things like the papier-mâché stuff, which I really like, you know, because it's so cheap and simple and anybody can do it. And I've been giving people instructions online about how to do it, and hopefully there'll be an egg box papier-mâché movement coming out of it, you know. But in terms of my own practice, I just think it's given me more time to focus on it.
Yeah, and just in terms of moving forward, I mean, I know it's a bit of a strange thing, but where do you think it's going to leave all the artists?
Oh, that's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a difficult one because I don't know what we're moving forward towards. Because I mean, if there was a vaccine tomorrow, then I think the majority of people would revert to habit. I think it's been a disruption, but I think people are still thinking there'll be a return to the normal. So I'm maybe less optimistic than you about what lessons people will take from it. I mean, there's all the talk about how great it was for the environment and that the jets weren't flying and people could now see the Himalayas from, places they couldn't see them before. And certainly it was amazing. And people, because they've got that more time, were focusing on the natural world more. So people were noticing bird song, and people were noticing the changing of the seasons and the length of the days and things like that. And hopefully those things will stay and make a difference, because we certainly need them. But I think the majority of people, I mean, you saw it when lockdown sort of was half lifted, and because live over here in New Brighton, it was down on the front, there were parties of hundreds of kids just drinking, and it was within a day. So my worry is people are just like, it's an elastic band that they're on, and they'll snap back into normality because they're desperate for a bit of normality. People want stability, and I can understand that.
Yeah.
So I wonder whether those new hopes, new realizations will actually last. Mm. It's a struggle, but it's always a struggle. It's a struggle between progressive ideas and reactionary ideas, and it's still a struggle. Mm. And capitalism wants us to get back to capitalism, but in a sense, capitalism loves crises. Mm. So it might be hard for people, but it'll be hard for the poorer people, not for the richer people. And the richer people will be busy using their power to get back to how it was,
Yeah.
So, hate to sound negative, but
no, it's very true.
If you don't voice it, then you don't try and change it, do you?
I am really concerned about the art in general, in terms of the sort of general performing art. I mean, I had a ballet that we were supposed to be premiering, and that's just been cancelled completely. And I don't know when we're going to be able to even consider putting that back on. So it's those type of things. That's purely on a personal level. But I've got so many friends who are jazz musicians all over the place, and classical musicians and so on. I think the people that play in orchestras. So I've got some friends in the Phil, and they're fine. They've been furloughed and so on. And they will start playing again in some kind of capacity. But it's all the independent musicians, all the jazz musicians, all the people who are in bands and so on. I just don't know how that's going to happen over the next few years. I think it's going to be really, really difficult for them.
Yeah. I mean, why I was keen to lift people's spirits. So that's why I did this new show in the Fabric District. But that outdoor gallery on the street that actually I started and invented for the 2018 festival, that's proved to be exactly the thing that's needed, because it's already automatically socially distanced, and people don't have to be let in numbers. So I think there'll be ways, and people will find ways to do new things and new ways to use their skills.
Yeah.
I think if we're creative, then we'll find new ways to do it. But I do think we did the degree show online this year, and the students were fantastically inventive, and the fine art students did their graduation show from on Mars, So you flew to Mars, and then the work was in the Grand Crater on Mars, it's just a great way of making a positive out of a negative. So I think artists are good at doing that, but an online exhibition, no matter how good it is not the same as a real, I'm not really interested in looking at online exhibitions. I mean, I've been looking at them for years, and they've never really been a substitute for the real thing. And the same with online music, and the sound quality is squeezed so much to get through the tube that it's a denuded experience, isn't it?
Well, there's something about, I was talking to somebody about this the other day, there's something about the physical wave of being in the same room, and it is a wave. And I always remember years ago going to a concert, and it was these Japanese taiko drummers, and these massive Japanese drums, and they hit them, and there was a kind of structure to the back of the hall where they had the soundboard, and it was physically shaking. The room at the back was shaking, and it's something that you can't see, but obviously you can feel it. There are these waves going through the room, and when you go to a concert or you go to the theatre, and you are physically there, you're experiencing the energy, aren't you? The natural energy within the room, and that's what you don't get online. Online's great; it's a fantastic thing, and you can adapt and do so many things, but it's not the same as the live experience.
No. I mean, as you know, I'm a big live performer in terms of the bands, you know, like the Three Johns and stuff. We were a live band, really. And you can actually make the walls bend. You know, you can affect the architecture, because what you're affecting is people's perception, obviously. But for people, you can make the walls bend, and you can turn 300 individuals into one person. You know what I mean? It's like meditation. The boundaries of the individual start to dissolve, don't they?
That's right.
And they dissolve through the resonance of the air and the harmonics, actually, that you can't hear, that you get with analog music, that you don't get with digital music. You know.
That's right.
The invisible hearing bits, the bits outside your range of hearing that you feel but can't hear.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a completely different experience. Absolutely.
It is. So what's happening then? It's been the launch is being cancelled, but we can still go see the exhibition.
The exhibition's actually up already. The official date of opening was 1st of August. It's in Kempston Street, Gildart Street, and Charlotte Street. And I was going to have a launch next Saturday. But there were like over 200 people coming, and having inquired of the law, like 30 is the maximum, and indoors it's 6 groups of 6. So there was no way I could, and I didn't want to spend like a massive amount of time organising sort of staggered parties of 30 sort of thing, because it was too complicated. So I've gone with the flow, really, and just said, well, can't do that. There's the exhibition. Go and see it. It'll be on for 2 months, you know, it'll be on till the end of September. People can just go when they can go. And the Tapestry bar's open, and the Hopscotch whiskey bar. So there are places for people to eat and drink when they go. And I've been putting the times of those places online for people. So they can make a day out of it, you know. But I think people are desperate to see something, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know.
They are.
They are. I know they. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to make a video with Tom, my son. He's going to film me going around and talking about it, and then I'll put that up online.
Really
so
nice.
People can like have a one-to-one, you know, in inverted commas, experience with me.
Yeah.
Because I've called it Walk With Me, and that's what the video will be. It'll be a walk with me. Yeah. So that's the plan. Well,
I think I'm definitely going to try and get down there in the next week or so and have a look.
Great. Well, let me know what you think.
Yeah, definitely. Well, John, thanks very much. It's been a pleasure.
Good to speak to you, John. Yeah.
Really interested to hear about certainly the papier-mâché stuff. That's certainly different. It's good. Yeah. It's brilliant.
I've actually lent can't show you the Diddy Golf because I've lent it to my son. He's playing it in his flat now.
Brilliant. Superb.